Hello, how are you folks? If you're asking about me, I'm well and good. I'm just going to do this for the last time because if nothing happens, nothing will break. You ask, break the backs of this corruption in the Philippines. Nothing will. You shout, you start shouting now about resign, Bobo, McCoy. Nothing will happen. He will not resign. Remember his father? He was forcefully taken out of the Malacanang, and he would not have resigned, even though he was already surrounded by rebels and by those people who didn't want him to stay in power. It's the same thing with the son. The son will not resign. I'm telling you that. And if you're going to replace that with the dutertes, you're in big trouble. You're now in trouble. You will. It's just like jumping from the frying pan to the fire. Okay, so you're in trouble now. You will be much more in trouble if you select people who are, you know, with vested interest in the promoting themselves and not promoting the country. They would. There are also people who are, pretending to be as good as they say they would, but they're actually wolves in sheep's clothing, meaning they are not to be trusted. Say, for example, this Marculation, he's a senator. Marculation is one hell of a stupid a hole because he, behind all this, he pretends to be, you know, solving these problems about, but it's all in his vested political interest. That's why he's been shoveled around from this commission or that, because nobody likes him. Nobody likes him at all. People who are thinking knows about what he's doing. Here comes the other politician, Romualdes. For God's sake, he's a sick motherfucker. He's just sick, old and dirty, and you name it. He has no reason to be in Congress. This guy was running for a position in his constituency lady. You know what he did? He asked his opponent to what? One of his opponent, he asked her to stop being a contender. What kind of a person is that? Intimidating his opponent even before the election and asking his opponents to resign and to and to get somebody a decoy opponent for so that he could be re-elected if he is doing real, magnanimous action. He would have let his opponents become candidates opposing him. Because I would imagine by now, if he's not going to intimidate his constituents, he would probably lose his seat big time because he's a corrupt. People knows him as corrupt. The only person who was good with that family name was his grandfather, Daniel Romualdez. He was good. He was better than most. But the offsprings and descendants, Now, never trust these descendants. None of them are for the people or for the Filipino people. It's for them to amass wealth as much as they can at the at the expense of the Filipino people. Now here comes some other people in government and those who are lingering as opponents of the government. The only way that this lingering people around, it's it's wrong. I mean, it's basically wrong the way government is being run, or the way it's developing in the Philippines. It's just like the 1930s of Chicago or the 1940s of San Francisco, 1970s of San Francisco. Never will the Philippines grow according to what they would like to. It's because they copy patterns in the West, especially copying America, which is one of the worst form of government. Just to let you know, and then they copy some bits and pieces from the Brazilian government, from governments in England, and um, for socialized medicine and all that. You know what? If the Philippines would only be true to itself by promoting what is good for them and not what is good because the other dictates of other governments. Oh, we got to follow this pattern. We got to follow the American. These things don't work for the Philippines. These things, for example, here's one good example. America has this Congress, you have the upper house and the lower house. You copy that in the Philippines, and they don't know how to run that because they copy what is not basically, if it is good for the Americans, it's not good for the Philippines. I'm telling you that. The only way a true congressional body is to be had is one Congress. One. Just one. No upper house, no Senate, no nothing. Just one Congress. One body, and that should fit everything in out there. Because that's the Filipino way. That the Filipinos will understand that, one Congress. But if you put like a Congress with two bodies, the Filipinos are going to be confused with that. So that pattern since the 1950s up to now, that's never worked, and it will never work. See, that's the only we have two forms of corruption right there: upper house and lower house, Congress and Senate. See, they divide the loot, and here you have so many departments that are bullshit departments, and they are redundant and they are useless. I would have only five if I have five departments. Get rid of that uh, ombudsman or ombuds people, whatever. Justice Department, no, 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 no. You don't need that. Education, no, 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 you don't need that. Uh, what else? Defense, you don't need that. Here's what you do. Okay, okay. Department of Philippine Affairs. One, external and internal. Both of them will function with everything that is happening in external and internal affairs of the family, including but not limited to education, defense, and justice. Okay, but it can be done. It can be done. Then you have, of course, you have a Department of Treasury Department. You got to have that because that is very important. And then the Department of Treasury, along with that, is uh, audit. The commission becomes part of the Treasury Department. There's no defense. Okay, there's no defense. There's Department of Defense will be incorporated with Philippine internal department, Philippine internal department. They will handle everything in there. Then you have the DO, whatever it does. Every time they have a disaster in the Philippines, it looks like, we have this, that. You know, year in and year out, you know that there would be typhoons coming in, an average of like uh, like 2025 every year. So you have enough preparation for that. Now, in order for that to happen, you have to have a Department of Disaster Management. Okay, both man-made and natural. Man-made are those that pertains to aircraft accidents and train accidents or uh, anything that has got something to do with the human mind. And then the natural, like volcanic eruptions, typhoons. Those are so. Those are the ones that will need to have their own department. Then the other department that you have to have is the income department. Everything that has to do with the income goes goes to that income department. And no more so many other things. Department of this and that. Just treasury, income department, internal and external. Philippine department. And those four departments will handle everything that's happening in the Philippines, including justice, education, and infrastructure. Yeah, again, the infrastructure would involve the dams, the flood control programs, and all that. And then what else? So make that five departments only, not 20 department of agriculture because we are an agriculture country, and that, my friends, would only be streamlining the government. And when funds are going to be released, there's one more thing that has to be done. Uh, the Department of Business Administration, or something like the department that everything from the Supreme Court down to the executive branch and the legislative branch, everything that has to go out from the coffers of the Philippine government will only go through the Philippine business office. That office will be responsible for everything from salaries, from dam repair, or from road maintenance, or from flood control, or for schools, for hospitals, for salaries of, of, of president, vice president, the courts. Everything will be in that. Even the central bank will pass through that. Everything that goes in and out of the government will have to be uh, passing through that. Without the release of that funds from the Philippine Business Office, nothing will be. You know why you have that? It's because you control what's going in and out. What happens now to Immigration goes to the internal department. And what happens to customs? That is now an external, because it's coming in. Most of these items in and out should go to the internal, external department, Philippine department. How about the police? Police will have to be in the internal department. Military structure will always remain the same. The Supreme Court, nobody will be nobody from the Supreme Court uh, will be will be put by any uh, government or political official. They will manage their courts. They will assign their court judges, court prosecutors, and they will assign and and uh, and select their own Supreme Court justices, appeals, and all that. No political assignee or no political appointment will be done by a president, vice president, or any political entity at the Supreme Court or the courts. Courts will remain the same. Now, the other thing is that the the Magna Carta of Labor is long overdue. It has to be overhauled. The Philippine uh, court system, the crime and punishment portion has to be redone. We don't need a constitution. Okay, we don't need a constitution. Matter of fact, you don't need one. We don't need laws. You can find all these laws in every single republic. Up, everything that the president has done since year 1900 up to now. They're all in there. Everything is, we are overloaded with laws, and that's the problem with the government, because with overlapping laws, which one will you follow? Now, having said all that, the only thing that would happen is when you clean everything. Whoever is in government now, whoever is controlling all of this, has to go away. Has to go away. All these clans, all these dirty politicians, uh, all these politicians who are useless and has got nothing to do. Matter of fact, erase everything, suspend everything in there, and let's select the patriots, the people who are going to the country, serve the country well, and you will see that in 5 years everything will be okay. If I'm telling you, just hand me over 1,000 people, I will make the Philippines great. Okay, and that's enough. It's not as if all these things will happen in one go, but if the present climate of politicians, politics, and decision makers for the Philippines remain the same, I'm telling you, Philippines will just go down the drain just like that, and it will never progress. Even if there are progress in there, business is not good in the Philippines. Nobody really likes to do business in the Philippines. No wonder all this, infrastructures of condos, of malls. Is one curious thing. There are more malls per capita than hospitals that would serve the country. Think about that. Okie doke. This will end my my grievances. And as I said, if I have 1,000 people right now, I would most probably be able to overturn this government that they have and clean it up just like no other. It is not by asking them to retire or uh, get out of government. No, they will not. No, no, that's not possible for these people. These people has to be retrained, re reassigned, and has to go through re-education and our cultural uh, you know reshaping. That's all. But in all honesty, everything that happens in the government of the Philippines has uh, long been misconstrued as progress, even though it is not progress. Nothing will progress in there as long as these people who are still in government, who have been in government, and who are even on the sidelines right now, their minions, their relatives, their families. If you let these people, you know, thrive and be in government, nothing will happen. Nothing. I've noticed that ever since the momentum of Cory Aquino was was the era of Cory Aquino, Fidel Ramos, and all these people just wasted the well. The form of government remains the same, and the form of corruption still remain the same. And even after now, the people who are handling this from from department heads to even the tricycle driver in the corner of the street will be corrupt. One time, yeah, small story. I hailed the cab. This was like like 6 or 7 in the evening, and it was slightly drizzling. I hailed the cab, and in the Philippines, it's so weird. Even before you sit in the car, a taxi, you will ask the driver will say, "Where are you going?" I'm going to this place. And the guy would say, "Oh no, I cannot, because when I come back, there will be no passenger." What the hell? I cannot pick up any passenger because I'm going to my home. Of course, there's nobody there. But in the West, I've never been. In Japan, nobody asked me, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to this place," and I sat down. I sit down, and then I asked the driver, even in my broken Japanese, "I'm going to this." No problem. In England, the same thing. I get into the cab and I ask the cab driver to take me to Charing Cross or Covent Garden or the airport. No big deal. And I'm in America, same thing. Can you get me down to uh, Bally's? Yeah, yeah, I can take it down inside the car. In the Philippines, before you enter the cab, you have to ask the driver, "Can you take me down to this place?" And the driver would always say, "No." And then the next driver I hailed, I said, I'm going home, this place." And he said, "Yeah, but you have to add some more money so that I can recover my expense coming back without a passenger." Oh gosh, this is just great. It's just a small story. But that small story can go a long way, because when you get to the level of corruption that the government and everything else are doing are just incredible. Whatever it is, I said, you have elected these people, and these people thrive on on people. Uh, I mean, if you're going for checks and balances in the Philippines, you're going to just be frustrated because there's nothing in there. Nothing. There's no enforcement. Everybody's corrupt, and if it is a known person, I know this person and I know that person, or we know this person, go lightly on him or her. And those things don't add up. That's the reason why the Philippines will never go beyond whatever they are right now, because you know the thing about this is that whenever they have power, they use that in the wrong way. They use that to amass wealth. They use that to corrupt other people in terms of decision making. And if somebody from their group, if they make something wrong, or made an offense, never mind, that's okay. He's a friend, and we'll let him off. See how bad it is. That's how it is. Compadre system. Anyway, as I said, if I can have 1,000 people fully trained, financed, and in their heart are going to be Filipinos who are going to be, you know, clean. I mean, just clean. And those who are not going to follow, you don't kill them, re-educate them. There's uh, we are in the business of re-educating everybody. It's not like punishing them like the gulags or whatever. No, uh, just re-educate as when they are able to reintegrate with the society that's going to be clean as hell. Then they can come back. If they still are going to be corrupt, no. As I said, the Filipinos in politics and everybody else has a price, because they have made corruption an art and as a science. That's all. I'll break this dynasties and break all these bad politicians, and you know and wish they would wish that they have reformed themselves, because right now they are not. To do, you just talk is cheap. You start talking to them in a nice way, they'll just laugh at you. Okay, X. Uh, okay, let's go do it.